If you've ever looked at modern homes and wondered why a simple kick or forced entry can send a door flying, you're not alone. During World War II, civilians, soldiers and engineers faced threats far beyond petty burglary. Doors were the frontline defence against blasts, intruders and chaos. Yet most homes weren't equipped with steel vaults or military-grade materials. What they had instead was ingenuity pressed into service by necessity. In Britain, Poland and continental Europe, families learned fast that a standard wooden door, no matter how well locked, could be nothing more than a flimsy barrier under real pressure. That threat gave birth to a technique that was brutally simple, shockingly effective, and largely forgotten today. The crossload door reinforcement method. It's a method so practical that, if applied to a modern home, it could stop a forced entry cold. The genius of the wartime door reinforcement technique was in its simplicity. Most door failures occurred at the hinge or latch, the weakest points of any wooden door. A lock alone couldn't compensate for a frame that split under impact. Engineers and civilians addressed this by spreading the force across the entire door, rather than letting it concentrate at a single point. They started with ordinary wooden doors, the kind you'd find in homes, bunkers and barracks. Then they added diagonal braces forming an X pattern running from corner to corner. These braces were made from steel strips, hardwood planks or salvaged iron bands and were bolted through the wood into back plates. The result was a door that flexed under pressure rather than breaking, allowing the hinges, frame and latch to remain intact even under extreme force. The beauty of this method wasn't just in military structures. Civilians in London, Warsaw, Berlin and other embattled cities quickly adapted it for home use. Furniture parts, old bed frames, scrap steel from demolished buildings, all became raw materials for interior cross braces on doors. These reinforced doors weren't exactly elegant, but, they really worked. Families who applied this method managed to survive near-miss blasts and intrusion attempts that would have demolished, unprotected doors. Letters and diaries from the period often describe doors that bent under force, but, interestingly, didn't give, allowing people to maintain a barrier between themselves and danger. The principle was pretty straightforward: distribute impact through the structure, so that no single point could fail catastrophically. These days, construction tends to focus more on convenience and appearance rather than, raw resilience. Hollow core doors, soft pine frames and decorative locks dominate the market. The principle of cross-bracing, which proved itself under real war conditions, has largely disappeared from civilian construction. Most door failures still happen the same way they did in 1940. The frame splits at the latch and the door gives. Applying the wartime reinforcement technique today would dramatically increase resistance. It doesn't require historic hardware. Steel flat bars, carriage bolts and a drill are all you need to create a modern version of the cross-brace door. A simple day's work and $20 in materials can transform an ordinary entryway into a formidable defensive structure. Reinforcing a door with this method is surprisingly accessible. First, remove the door from its hinges and, mark the X pattern from corner to corner. Cut steel strips or hardwood planks to fit the diagonals and drill bolt holes at each intersection. Then fasten the braces with washers and nuts, bolting directly through the door panel. Then reinforce the frame by installing a steel strike plate that runs the full height of the latch side, anchored into the studs behind the trim. Once rehung, the door will feel completely rigid. It won't flex or shift under impact, and it will resist the types of attacks that modern locks alone cannot withstand. This is pure mechanical advantage, derived from physics rather than marketing. The crossload reinforcement method wasn't just theory. It saved lives in the field. Allied engineers used it to secure command posts, ammunition huts and radio shelters where reinforced concrete wasn't available. Timber doors reinforced with diagonal steel or salvage chassis bars could withstand shell fragments and blasts, keeping positions secure. One notable instance occurred during the 1941 siege of Tobruk, where Australian soldiers fortified dugouts with cross-braced doors. Even when artillery collapsed surrounding walls, the doors held, giving troops time to evacuate or seal tunnels. This was engineering under extreme conditions, tested by life-and-death stakes, proving the principle beyond doubt. For anyone serious about preparedness, off-grid living, or survival strategy, this door reinforcement method remains highly practical. It multiplies structural integrity without requiring advanced tools or materials. Triangle and X patterns are inherently strong, turning a door from a simple barrier into a load-bearing defense. The technique adapts to modern materials as well. Aluminum angles for plywood doors, salvage steel for outbuildings, or full-length metal latch plates for extra security. History has already done the testing for us, showing that with careful reinforcement, a wooden door can become far more than it appears. Many of the most effective survival innovations come not from comfort or convenience, but from necessity and crisis. The World War II door reinforcement trick exemplifies this principle. Modern builders may ignore it, but for those willing to study the past and apply its lessons, it offers an unmatched combination of simplicity, durability, and life-saving potential. Reinforce a door, as they did in 1942. Test it. Feel the difference. You are connecting directly with the people who endured unimaginable pressure, adapted, and survived. And if you want more hidden wartime engineering secrets, methods overlooked by today's designers, make sure you subscribe to Warfront Survival. Share this with fellow enthusiasts and keep exploring the real tactics that protected lives when everything else failed.